Hi everyone, today we are going to work a divider for if you're working like blankets in squares or strips. I have a divider that it just separates each section, so it gives it a little bit of definition. And I altered the camel stitch and just kind of made it, it still looks like a camel stitch, but it divides better, and it's just as easy as the camel stitch. So we're going to work that. If you don't know who I am Christine from Ambassador Crochet, and let's get started. Okay, now I have this swatch here. I fastened off, I tied it off. I'm just going to work into the last row. So if I was working this as a blanket strip, which this is one of the bonus strips for the adventure blanket, and as well as this divider section we used in the adventure blanket. And I will leave the links to that below in the video, just so if you don't know what I'm talking about, you can check that out. So for the adventure blanket, I would have ended here, and I would turn it, and I'd be working in the opposite side. So I'm just going to do that. That way, if you are working the adventure blanket, you can follow along. If you're just using this video for the tutorial of the Camel Stitch Variation, it'll still work either way. So I'm going to attach the yarn. Now the easiest way for this is usually just slip stitch into the whatever stitch you're working into. I'm going to chain one just to bring my hook up to the height of the row I'm working, and then I'm going to half double crochet across. So the camel stitch is pretty easy. It's not too complicated once you know what you're doing. And it's the regular camel stitch uses half double crochets throughout. I used a different stitch on the second row. Okay, pretty easy so far, right? All we did was work half double crochets all the way across. Okay, so we had our blanket strip section, and now we have, this is going to be the right side of your work. So this will be the front of your blanket if you have a one directional blanket, whereas one side is the right side, one side's the wrong side. So this would be the right side. And we have our half double crochets. So now we're going to chain one and turn. And so for this side, a normal camel stitch, you would work the half double crochets into this third loop. So if you look here, you have your normal 2 loops that you would work into, right? That's the top of your stitch, and that's what you would normally work into. For the camel stitch, we're going to be working into this third loop in the back that a half double crochet leaves. It's a horizontal loop, and if I have my hook here, if you look, this is your normal top of your stitch, the 2 loops you would normally work into right here. I don't know if you can see that. And then this is the third loop in the back. Okay, so like I said, for a normal camel stitch, we would be working half double crochets into these third loops. For the variation, what I did was I worked a single crochet into these loops. So we did the chain one, and we're just going to work a single crochet into each of these loops in the back. And the reason I worked a single crochet was because there's no repeat, and we're only doing this once. And so I didn't want the next row of stitches to stand up any taller than the half double crochet row. And when you pull that half double crochet row forward, it's only about the height of a single crochet. When I get to the end of this row, I will show you what I mean. Okay, so now we're at the end of the row, and I want to show you what it looks like. Okay, put my hook there. So now we have the camel stitch actually pulls those top two loops of the half double crochet forward. If you can see that, it pulls it forward, and it just gives it a nice little ridge. That's probably a better angle with the sunlight. Gives it a nice little texture without too much. So now the reason I did this a single crochet instead of a half double crochet was because when it pulls it forward, the bottom of the half double crochet, I wanted the top to be the same height. And if you're working rows of camel stitch, it's better to work the half double crochet in this second row, in the wrong side row, because when you pull the next row forward, you need that third loop. But for this, I just wanted it to be an even amount on the bottom and on the top, and so a single crochet worked perfect there. Again, this is the divider for the adventure blanket, so we worked strips of different textures. So we work a strip and we use a divider, and then we work a strip, use a divider. I will link to the blog post about the adventure blanket in the comments. And again, this is the Camel Stitch Variation. I am Christine. Thank you for watching, and I hope you will subscribe.